First things first, man. Be sure to subscribe to the Substack. Link is in the description. This is where you'll get the Gnostic Kabbalah, which is going to be a 11-part series where we deep dive into the Kabbalah. The thing about the Kabbalah is that you might not even know you need it until you know you need it. So check out these articles. Just put out one on Tuesday in reference to Chokma. I'll have a video on that later in the week, maybe tomorrow. But today we're going to be talking about the full moon. But I just want to alert people who are watching this video post live to subscribe to the Substack. Link is in the description. I put out free articles as well, but I'm trying something different with this Gnostic Kabbalah for those that are serious about the spiritual path. For as little as $5 a month, you could be a paid subscriber and get full access to the Gnostic Kabbalah, broken down like nobody has ever broken it down before. And it is very simple, very applicable, and it is able to change your life and the way that you see yourself and doing this spiritual work. So, with all of that being said, welcome to this video as we tap into this full moon in Sagittarius. I'm your host, the Hood Muse, the Hood Mystic, and we are about to get into it. I'm gonna just drop my little intro, and we'll get right into the build. Peace to the tribe, peace to the collective. Thank you for watching.
You are now tapped in with Hood in the morning. Calling now.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. See, if that's not the realest shit in the world.
The Shift Report with the Hood Mystic, where shift happens.
Peace to the tribe, peace to the collective. Like I stated earlier, if you want the full version or the script version of this presentation, please click the link in the description, visit my Substack, and this article is a free article. This particular episode of The Full Moon is brought to you by me. My company, White Rabbit Psychedelics. Please remember 15% off, no promo code needed. 15% off the whole store. That's whiterabbitpsych.com. Click the QR code or check the link in the description. So, like I said earlier, I have been studying the Kabbalah very, very deeply, and it's allowing me to look at everything with deeper clarity, deeper understanding. And I did that with this full moon. And so what I came like usually when I do the study for the full moon, I like, all right, what does this represent? What does this stand for? And for me, this is a very individualistic full moon in reference to the personal individual, where some full moons are catered to the collective. This full moon is very personal. Uh, One of the signals of it is that the sun being in Gemini, which we'll be talking about, and the moon being in Sagittarius, Gemini being an air sign dealing with the mental, and Sagittarius, a fire sign dealing with the spiritual. Once again, if you see a spirit right in front of you and you think that it's your grandma Jean, you the only one that can see that. But if you literally see that, no, that's gonna change you. Like you see something spiritually and you have a mental imprint, that is very personal. Versus if something happens in reference to the collective, like we go into World War III, that is centered in the collective. This particular transit is very personal, very close to home. So, in reference to that, looking at this particular energy, let's get into the specifics. Sun and Gemini in the third decan of Gemini, ruled by the Ten of Swords. As I stated earlier, I've been looking at things deeply Kabbalistically. So, looking at 10 as Malkuth and understanding the language between, like, what does Malkuth mean versus like the number 10. But 10 means Malkuth. So, Malkuth in Hebrew means kingdom or reign or presence or dwelling, right? So when you reference that to the Ten of Swords, which is the manifestation or the reality of your mind, that's very personal, right? And a lot of people are at different places right now, but wherever you're at is more akin to what you have been working towards mentally. Some things like we work towards, we can go to college, we can, take a training, take a course somewhere. But then some things we can't do that. An example would be like having a baby, right? So 10 is the baby being born or the conceptualization of the fact that you are pregnant. Swords represents the mind or air. So it just completely relates to where your mind has been at, not recently, but when you think about the 10, you think about a long journey to get to 10. Very mental, a lot of different mental aspects. And when you study the tarot and you see that the cards are set up, so, say for instance, Cancer houses the Two of Cups, the Three of Cups, and the Four of Cups, and then it goes to Virgo, and Virgo houses the uh, eight of eight of this, nine of this, and the 10 of this, right? And then you have to get back to Libra. So basically, this particular aspect of mental understanding takes a pause for 2 to 3 months. So it's like you got to work on different things at different times to be whole. And the astrology helps us work on our mind at this particular part. And then the next concept is the sun moving into Cancer, where we work on our emotions. We do alchemy within our emotions. So now, one of the very simple things that at first sounds very complicated is the concept of inverse polarity, which is like one of the main topics of this full moon to understand inverse or reverse polarities. So, the damn, this is so complicated, but it's so simple. And I hope that I make sense when I'm saying it. So, when you're referencing Gemini and Sagittarius, which is mental and which is also dealing with the spiritual, that is the positive situation, right? But then, like, the inverse polarity to those would be earth and water, which is physical and emotional. So, therefore, what begins to be a representation of how you manifest emotionally and how you manifest physically, it starts now based upon reverse polarity. So, it's common sense, right? Once again, very complicated, but also very much in a space of common sense. Because, say, for instance, like you wanted to build a house, the reverse polarity of building a house is the blueprint, the schematics. I dare you to build a house in 2025, not knowing where you're going to put the electricity wires, not knowing where you're going to build your beams and the corners and the steps and the doorways. You just in there winging it. That's not nothing that you could build a house with. But if you do the schematics, the blueprinting, and the blueprinting is precise in reference to what you need, and you covering all dots, you crossing all T's, and then you giving it to somebody and say, does this blueprint meet specifications? And they give you the okay, this blueprint is perfect. Get you a contractor and have them follow these blueprints to a T, and you're gonna build the house, right? You didn't just build the house, like so. Like the society in the world, they're gonna like congratulate the person that's building the house, like, oh, this he built the house, like you know what I'm saying. You seen the memes, like you know what I'm saying. Motherfucker have the keys in their hand, you know what I'm saying. They moving in, they just moved in. Yay, we got a new house, mama, shit like that. But that's Malkuth, right? That is the kingdom. That is the reign. What all took place before it got to this point where you have moved into this home? A lot has taken place. So much zonings, titles, taxes, bullshit contractors, and things of that nature. Like it's been a lot to get you to this actual point. So I say that all to say, when we are dealing with the Ten of Swords, we're dealing with the fact that A, you want to build a house, and B, this is the house that you want to build, and it hasn't manifested yet. You have to go through a period of Cancer, you have to go through a period of Virgo, and from that point, you will be cultivating and building upon this initial idea. And generally, with this particular cycle that we're in, if you paid attention to last month's astrology report, it was about setting the uh 13-month plan, right? Or 13 moon cycle month plan, because the sun is in Gemini, and this is the place where you're utilizing your mind to complete the vision for yourself. And I know that a lot of people are winging it, and this makes it uncomfortable. But that's why Gemini gets such a bad raps in reference to the Eight of Swords and the Nine of Swords. Like, it's not me just saying it, it's the goddamn archetypal energy within the goddamn deck. Like, and I'm just like, who would want to be in this particular threshold of an energy? Like, who would want to be bound, blindfolded, surrounded by swords? Who would want to be insomnia? Like, you know what I'm saying? Can't sleep, can't think, can't eat, right? Always in a mental fog, right? And only to get to nowhere by the time you get to the Ten of Swords. Because the vision, why is this? Like, who wants to celebrate Ten of Swords energy within itself? Like, who wants to be living like this? Like, who wants to be in this type of thing? I know I don't. Unless that's an aspect of myself that I no longer want to deal with, which is paramount in referencing to the person that is envisioning the future. It has to be the new person that's envisioning the future. The old person can't envision the future. So, in working with the inverse polarity, this particular card that rules the Ten of Swords is called Ruin, right? It's called Ruin. So, once again, this goes back to the conversation that we had on on Monday with Jabri. We were like really fleshing out the concept of inverse polarities. But in this particular aspect, in reference to the full moon, It's one thing to ruin yourself, but it's a whole nother thing to ruin the negative qualities, to ruin the poverty mindset, to ruin the part of you that's holding yourself back, to like completely ruin it, right? Not to hold on to it, to like make sure that it is cultivated and nurtured and taken care of and pandered to. No, ruin it, ruin that shit mentally. I always tell people, I tell people a lot of shit, right? I tell people a lot of shit, but I one of the things that I remember like in my awakening process where this is like really deep into it when I was a Christian and I had mental afflictions and things of that nature, new into my spiritual journey, deeper into my muggle bag, right? I didn't know left from right. But ultimately, I got to a point where I started using those swords to kill all negative thoughts. I imagine Jesus had a sword, and then Jesus, like the white boy Jesus with the beard, I imagined that nigga in my mind with a sword, and a negative idea would come up, and Jesus will fuck that idea up. You know what I'm saying? Like any negative thought I had, any negative emotion I had Jesus with that sword chopping heads off. And negative thoughts wasn't allowed to live in my mind, right? So when you look at the swords and you imagine, so the thing about mass media and the common collective consciousness is everything gotta be good, right? What is a normal concept that people have get like neon lights and shit in their room? No bad vibes allowed, right? All on the internet, right? No bad vibes. No bad vibes. Absolutely no bad vibes. No bad vibes today. No time for bad vibes. Good vibes only. No bad vibes. You see how pervasive this is in the world zeitgeist. One in the chat, if you see how pervasive the concept is that I'm putting forth to you, to whereas we don't even know how to work with the reverse polarity. We don't understand what the inverse polarity is because it is no bad vibes. Once in the chat, if this is a normal concept within the zeitgeist within your life, you ain't dealing with nothing bad. You ain't touching no bad vibes. And what be the irony to that shit? What's the irony to niggas who always say no bad vibes? They be the bad vibe. They are the bad vibe. So, hey, most people do not want to do alchemy in this day and time in reference to if it's bad vibes, let's alchemize it. If it's conflict, let's resolve it. Let's get to the other side of this thing because what's going to happen when you experience bad vibes? You're going to shut down. You're going to stop moving forward. And reality is bad and good. So it's easier to not deal with people than it is to deal with people. Because the moment negative things come up, they don't have no toolbox to deal with it. And you could host a goddamn Zoom, you can do a webinar, you can get in the community, and you can teach people about conflict resolutions and things of that nature, and maybe open you up to your particular tribe. But you moving in 2024 with a friend group, I guarantee you, y'all isolated and secluded in reference to no bad vibes. What does that mean? Everybody is pandering to one another. Everybody is telling everybody, girl, you got it going on. You want everybody to kiss your ass, everybody to pat you on your back, everybody to smile at you. But sometimes you be looking crazy. Sometimes you need to be put in check. Sometimes people need to tell you, like, man, that ain't good. You don't need to do that. And you as an individual need to be receptive to understand this particular principle, which is not even hard to wrap your mind around in reference to things that are real. Imagine them at the Ford company. What car we gonna build? What car we gonna build for the 2026 season? Yeah, Ford, we're about to do the random rigamajig car. We're just getting in there. We're getting on the factory lines, and whatever these people come up with, we're just gonna we're going off vibes for the 2026. We got a brand new Ford model car, all vibes. So the engineers, the people that's doing the prototypes, yeah, we laid all those guys off. We don't need them. We don't need to work with our inverse polarity here at the Ford Motor Company. We just do shit at the moment, spur of the moment. It would cease to exist. To which, where we have conversations and we present information, we talk about things that simply on, like, vibes and how we feel. That shit's not gonna get you nowhere in reference to real life. It ain't never no point in time where you enter into a domain and say, "Ooh, I like this," and it manifested into something. In reference to any domain, that in reference to anything that was successful, you had a plan, you planned it out, and you executed it. Or you had a plan, you executed it, it didn't go wrong, you figured out where you went wrong at, you did particular variables, you tried and you tried again, you A/B tested, you tested against different groups, different models, different crowds. You fucked around, you found out, you hired people, you work with people, you put yourself in situations so you can learn, to where you could blueprint the idea, you can scope the idea out, you can see the idea mentally, and then you walk through the steps every single day. And it's like, for me, it's small things and it's big things. It's sexual things, like working with sexual energy, working with psychic energy, working with spiritual energy, and it's like, well, at one level it was random, but now it's very much right and exact and pinpoint accuracy, because we're always working with the reverse polarity. When it is in reference to negative things such as ruin, I'm not going to ruin the things that I got going good for myself, because that would make me sad. What's going to make me happy is if I ruin the bullshit, if I get rid of the bullshit. And in all of the particular levels of scholarly thought in reference to spiritual conversations, nobody is presenting this information. But at the same time, when you get in your car, you are activating the reverse polarity. Something so easy as turning your car knob, or to some of y'all got money, some of y'all ballers ones in the chat, you got the push to start. That's a reverse polarity. That is a negative inverse. Like, a button should not trigger a series of complex combinations and machinations to ignite and start a vehicle. Damn near 150 things had to happen all at once for that vehicle to start, and all you did was push a button. But when you talking about doing spiritual things, you then want to make it complex and overloaded, and don't know how to balance out the energy at all times. You have to find a balance. When I'm talking about balance, that's something that I can't really specifically explain to a person. The same way, if you get on a teeter totter, what is that called? Is it called a teeter totter? Oh shit! It's not called a teeter totter, bro. It's called a seesaw. God damn it! Public school didn't teach me shit. You get on a damn seesaw and determining, like, yeah, I know what's going to make that other side go down. I don't know. You got to fuck around and find out. So when you're doing altar work, you got to find balance in the physical. When you doing learning work, you got to find balance in the spiritual. When you work in a job, you got to find balance in the leisure. Like, you can't work 8 hours a day and that be a horrible experience, and then don't do nothing to balance that off. What is going to balance that off for you? I don't know. For some, it's getting tied up, getting hung upside down with a mouth gag. For some, it's taking a jog in a apartment complex. That wouldn't be right for me to tell you to, what I'm saying, throw on a goddamn patent leather one piece suit, you know what I'm saying, with just room for you to breathe and have an intense sexual experience. I can't give you that advice to balance out your energy. How the fuck do I know? How does anybody know what's going to balance you out? And that's the hard thing about expressing spiritual concepts because the individual might be a real boss ass freak at the end of the day into some weird shit. And I'm saying all you need to do is meditate and keep your fingers crossed and do a lock leg position. And really, you want to reenact a Bonnie Blue video to balance your energy out. Like, that's like, I'm telling you, this shit gets so deep with people and individuals. You got to then make people laugh and then have them reflect. Like, what does it take to balance me out? Where is balance expressed in my life? Or am I doing the majority of my life working? Or I'm, really chasing dick this season. You know what I'm saying? I'm really chasing pussy this season. Is that balance? You know what I'm saying? Like, where is the imbalances lying in your life, and what are you doing to balance it out? So, in working with the Ten of Swords, you ruin all of that shit. Like any negative aspect of I'm lazy, can't clean, dirty, dirt under my fingernails, booty stink, toe jam, you ruined that. That's the inverse polarity. And imagine you ruining all of your negative qualities. Imagine you refining yourself. What does that look like in 13 months of you doing everything that you need to do? Like, I literally sat back and did a lot of the shit that I wanted to do over these past 3 to 4 years, to the fact like I know, like, I'm not done living and I'm not done traveling. I'm not done with shit. But for this season, I ain't doing shit. If I can sit back and look at my past earnings and say, "Oh, over the past 3 months, you made 20K, right? All right, I ain't about to do shit for these next 3 months. Maybe save whatever. You know what I'm saying? Save whatever. Over the next 6 months, save whatever. By the mode of just not doing shit. Cause what am I doing? I'm ruining the aspects of me that's wasteful. Why am I ruining the aspects of me that are wasteful? Because I want to accomplish something, and I cannot accomplish something if I don't ruin the aspects that are wasteful. But in reference to, like, you know what I'm saying, whenever you get rid of a habit, you gotta replace it with another habit. Like, you get rid of a bad habit, you get replace it with a good habit. So I don't know what I was doing before I started working out. I was doing all types of crazy shit. But now that's a good habit to work out. So doing more things like shit, doing YouTube videos and studying, working on YouTube videos would replace other things that I would be doing. I don't know what I would be doing, but I replaced that habit. So I can't even, the nigga that was fucking my life up is so ruined, I can't even reflect on that nigga no more. This nigga went and got some Kool-Aid from the goddamn store. You know what I'm saying? Restaurant got Kool-Aid. I'll let this nigga get a large Kool-Aid. We gonna drink it. And now, goddamn, I got a goddamn toothache from hell. I said, you no longer making decisions in this house, boy. I gotta ruin that nigga. This nigga wanna get Kool-Aid and shit. That Kool-Aid was good as hell. I threw some ice in that shit. I knew it was made with tap water. I didn't even care. I just throw some ice. Why is it that I throw some ice in that shit and I just remove all logic? I'm willing to drink anything if it's chilled. What's wrong with me, y'all? So what we just discussed was the sun, which is more of our everyday expression in reference to the mental projections that we may have. And when we talk about mental projections, we're not talking about the mental projections that we just had a week ago. This mental projection, since it's in the realm of 10, have been something that have been manifesting for a very long time. And to double down on that, we have the moon aligning with the sun in the sign of Sagittarius, where the moon, if the sun is external or expression, exoteric, then the moon is inner, esoteric, how we feel, which is in the polarity of spiritual. So the inverse polarity of spiritual is physical. The inverse polarity of mental is emotional. So, working with these particular energies from a spiritual perspective, meaning to reinvigorate your altar, to clean your altar space, to light the candle for the full moon, to get into the space and time of a full moon in Sagittarius. When we talk about Sagittarius, that's ground zero for ancestors and ancestor work. Even deeper, today is the guru. Today, I said today, right now, July 10th. What's today? July 10th, Thursday, July 10th, 2025. We are experiencing the Guru Purnima. What is the significance of the Guru Purnima? It is a Hindu visible. What is going on with me sometimes? I don't know, y'all. My whole thing is don't judge me. Because I could judge y'all, but I don't. So let's just keep it that way. This nigga messes up on words. That's how it is in these streets. I just thought of something funny. Anyways, Purnima is a Hindu festival celebrated to honor and express gratitude towards one's spiritual teachers and gurus. It falls on the full moon day of Purnima in the Hindu month of Asada. The day is also known as Vyasa Purnima, commemorating the birth anniversary of Veda Vyasa, the sage who compiled the Vedas at Mahabharata. Long and short of it, do you have a spiritual teacher that shows up for you spiritually? Think about that. Think about how many niggas have came to you in the concept of spirituality just to scam you out of thousands of dollars. And at the end of the day, your life haven't changed other than the fact that you spent $4,000 on how to do some shit you could have learned how to do on Google, on YouTube for free. Spiritual this, spiritual that, spiritual boom, spiritual bap, spiritual cap. Now think about the people who have been tried and true when you've been down and out. If you ever needed to ask them a question, if they ever just needed to hold space for you, if you just wanted somebody to show up for you in a spiritual level and they was ever there for you. And you know, with a lot of times with spiritual people, they don't even understand the reason for your existence for real. A lot of times with spiritual people, like I've noticed this, like people want to be it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's crazy too, right? Imagine you got a broken leg and a motherfucker be like, I know how to fix broken legs. Now I want to be a goddamn foot doctor. Fuck that shit, nigga. I'm about to learn how to do it. Like, you got to get your leg fixed before, I want to do what you do. And I get it because I looked at the spiritualists when I was younger and I was like, damn, I want to do that, but shit, I ain't getting no damn download. So I ain't about to get on no goddamn platform and start lying. I ain't going to act like I'm spiritual and I'm not spiritual. You know what I'm saying? You got to go through a rites of passage where, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to go on a journey in this shit, man. You got to get into the wilderness, into the world, have nothing, and you got to be intuitive and pull yourself out. You know what it make me think of? It make me think of the Dark Knight when they threw a man to that pit, and he had to climb himself out of that pit. That's the spiritual journey. You got to climb yourself out of that pit. Now it's one of two things: a nigga never been in a pit before, right? Or a nigga still in the pit. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get you to send him some goddamn JPay. So what you mean all the spiritual leaders is in prison? Because nigga, it's a karmic reason. You know what I'm saying? Don't follow me. Don't follow nobody. Follow your soul. Your guru is the person that's going to help you connect to your soul. That is, and then in reference to that, we talking about Bobby Hemmett. We talking about Brother Panic. We talking about Delbert Blair. We talking about Francis Cress Wilson. We talking about Ivan Van Sertima. We're talking about all of the people that we stand on the backs of because we know what it was like to be in school, to go to college, you know what I'm saying, and just be institutionalized in African American studies, beating us down with slavery. I couldn't believe my mind was blown when I just seen this cover. They came before Columbus. I bought this book so goddamn fast. You mean to tell me we was here before 1492? So when you talk about Ivan Van Sertima, Shank Anta Diop, and then you talk about Sagittarius, nigga, I hope that y'all understand what I'm saying when I say what I'm about to say. They are the epitome of Sagittarius. Bobby Hemmett, Brother Panic. Fill in the blank. Add names in the chat, man. What's the boy's name? The vegan Dr. Sabi. That when you want to figure out what Sagittarius is in real life, that is what we're talking about. It's higher learning, right? In astrology, Sagittarius, symbolized by the archer, is associated with higher education, philosophy, and the love of learning. You know, we live in this world and niggas stop learning soon as they get out of high school. Alim El Bay, C. Freeman L. Right? Come on, man. This is Sagittarius energy. So when you are, oh man, Dr. Yafa Bay, Dr. Africa, if you got some teachers that have helped you gain knowledge of self, spam the fucking chat. Maybe somebody will look like, you know how lost we are as a people. You know how we don't really deal with this shit no more. But you gotta go harken back to 2008 when we was in the goddamn golden years. Barack Obama was the president. Dr. Henry Clark, Hakeem Bey, Taj Tariq Bey. Man, like this is real shit. Like if you could sit back and think about what Sagittarius actually means, and then put yourself in this particular space and time and say, all right, what is higher knowledge in this paradigm? The Matrix is locking down on niggas like it's the goddamn movie. We got AI, we got robots, we got Neuralink, we got Google, Facebook, Meta glasses, Apple. We got all of this shit. And they're one of us. And how, I mean, shit, what are we supposed to do? Right? But then when we have this particular day, July 10th, Guru Purnima, what we going to do? We going to keep doing what we've been doing and not venerate the ancestors. Because if you don't know that you was deaf, dumb, and blind, and you was awakened to yourself and the people that helped you get there, wasn't yourself. It was bodhisattvas, enlightened masters, ascended masters sent to this earth with a purpose. Delbert Blair lived and delivered in his purpose. Dr. Sebi lived and delivered in their purpose, lived and transcended. You know what I'm saying? God meet them and say, you did a good job. You saved lives. You taught people about their diet. You taught people about their soul. And a nigga will sit down here in a goddamn Mustang with a yellow bone and feel like they done made it to the top of the motherfucking world. We have lost this. We have lost it in Sagittarius. We ain't, them lectures is old, man. Ones in the chat. Masterly Foolish. Shout out to my boy Masterly Foolish, man. Terrence McKenna, Food of the Gods. Reverend Dr. Phil Valentine. I shade to the ancestors, those and unknown, because I know I wouldn't have all these names that y'all name in chat, I wouldn't have been shit without. I don't know where I would be without this knowledge. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in a real sense, in handling myself in this world, man. Hank Rising. Come on, man. Handling myself as a man in this world. No father figure. You got a partner, nigga. These men served as my dad. You understand? Seeing what it looked like to stand and live in your purpose, and you not getting this in college. You're not getting this at the fucking community center. You're not getting this at the gas station. God is good because we can bear witness to all of these names, meaning that wherever we was at, whatever we was doing, we know these particular names. We know these particular teachings. And then we remember when you got the Bobby Hemmett tapes on YouTube and they was from 20 years ago. Somebody was VHS recording that shit, and the technology caught it with the VHSs, and they changed the VHSs to digital recording so the people can have them forever. Because God is so good. So what was just a VHS tape that nobody would have got a hold of is now, well, once was on YouTube and widely distributed, and Black people by the thousands, if not millions, awakened and have activated themselves through rituals, through literature, through knowledge, through community. In a space where all of us was going to motherfucking church, nigga. We was either going to the church or the mosque. We was only going to organized religion. That's what's the Black, like when you said spiritual to Black people, when I was growing up in the early 90s, you either talked about you as a Muslim or you was a Christian. And that paradigm is still 90% of Black people. So when we talk about the millions of awakened, it's still a minority, but yet and still, we can bear witness to the fact of Sagittarius energy, this enlightened teacher, Chiron, which is the teacher, educator, right, of higher celestial knowledge. Where would you be without it? First time I came across Bobby, I was completely confused on the material. You and me both. Shit. That's the point of education. If you go into the class and you know everything that the teacher is talking about, then you don't need to be in the class. I remember being at college until 11 p.m. doing homework because I was watching Bobby Hemmett for 3 hours before doing homework. Have you in that vortex watching a whole 8-hour lecture like it was food. It be seeming like I be knowing Bobby Hemmett lectures word for word, like a Jay-Z CD. Just absorbing this knowledge because at first it's challenging, but then it's exactly what you need. Because what Bobby is doing, he's giving you the literature, he giving you the textbooks, he giving you the information. But a large percentage of what Bobby is doing, and he's letting you fuck around and figure it out on your own. He not doing the work for you. And that was a hard part of my learning because I would listen to the lectures and I would be addicted to the videos and I would try to find videos to help me, but the video is only going to get you but so far. Once the video goes off, that's when the real work starts. But I shade to them because they helped us, right? So, in reference to the inverse polarity to Sagittarius, the 10 of Wands, the manifestation 10, Malkuth of Wands, spirit, absolute, the spiritual world, the manifestation of the spiritual world is oppression. So at first we look at oppression to be patriarchy, oppressing the feminine, but once again, we're working with the inverse polarity of astrology and magic. So on the surface, what we're going to give you is oppression, masculine over I'm sorry, masculine over feminine, but in absolute, which is the realm of wands. So you do this. I want to teach, but I didn't necessarily. That didn't mean you was trying to learn, right? So just going to above all things, know yourself, right? 10 of wands. So absolute, the archetypal world or the spiritual world. One second. So, let me see. Let me see. Okay. 10 of wands, oppression, right? Malkuth is in absolute, the world of archetypes. So the world of archetypes or absolute, when you look at absolute and you look at feminine energy, what you come up with? Because you assuming that masculine is positive in all realms. Matter of fact, I'll just go to my damn article because that's where I documented it at. So boom, I want y'all, and then it's a little mini promotion to the Discord, or not the Discord, the Substack, but join the Discord too. It's all relative, right? So right now I'm at the White Rabbit Substack. And the article that I put out on the 9th, which was yesterday, was on Chokma. So what we're going to do is get into Absolute. So Absolute is the spiritual world. But another aspect that you want to deal with, I'm trying to find it. Trying to find it. And I probably wrote that shit too so many times. Okay. Each world, so each world, meaning that it's four worlds: Asaya, Yetzirah, Banah, and Ataluth, which just are physical disc or pinnacles, emotional astral or cups, mental swords, and spiritual wands. So spiritual Ataluth is wands. Men or masculine is positive and physical or mental, or Asaya and Brio. Feminine is positive in emotional, astral, or spiritual, Atzaluf, and Yetzirah. So back to this tarot card, which on the surface, masculine is oppressing feminine, but that's not the case in Absolute. The case in Absolute is that feminine is dominant in this particular paradigm. So the education, from my point of view, is working with your feminine energy in a spiritual space is the most dominant thing you can do. So why would the feminine be oppressed during this time? Because she's not working with spiritual energy. She's not doing any rituals. She's not meditating. She's not journaling. She's caught up in her fear. She's caught up in what she's thinking about. She's caught up in her ideologies, her ideations, her projections, her traumas. She's fixated. She's goddamn hypnotized by her mind at this particular point. But when it comes to what are you doing spiritually, you know what I'm saying? She's living in fear. This is oppression because where does oppression take place at more than not? The mind. Do you think that if you focused on becoming a sovereign being, would you talk about being oppressed with white people, or you rely on them for your social services, for your infrastructure, and for your bottom line? You know what I'm saying? We rely on white people to teach us when we send our kids to public schools. Why would you send your school to the oppressor and then be mad that you oppress? Ain't nothing good about that school. The only thing good about that school is that you get a break from them kids. But that break that you getting from them kids, they not being taught about how to inverse and reverse their polarities and work with the currents and master their energy. They're being indoctrinated and lied to about history, about science, about mathematics, about language arts. So the system of oppression, whether we know it or not, is more locked into how we think about our oppressors, which in the study, oppression is linked to trust. So you trust this man so he can oppress you. You let this person in and ain't no particular guidelines. Like once it get to the 10 of Wands, that like once again, the 10 is a long journey, right? It's a long journey to get to 10. So within this particular process, you believed in this dream at a certain point in time, and now it's oppressing you. So what do you do with it in reference to the sun energy? You ruin it. Whatever is oppressing you, you ruin it. Whatever is so oppressing you, you ruin it. So in reference to the um Sabian symbol, for this full moon, which falls in 24 degrees of Sagittarius, the Sabian symbol is a bluebird standing at the door of a house. So, what this is saying is that internally, the moon, you are at a particular threshold. You are at point A and you are about to cross over to point B. In this on this channel, there's a particular metaphor that I like to use in reference to standing outside of the house. If you ever heard me use that metaphor before, put a one in the chat. When you are standing outside of the house, you are engorged in the external world. You are engorged in what's happening on the news, what's happening on social media, and what's happening inside of you. You are none the wiser. But when we are understanding the inverse polarity, which is common sense, is not magic, okay? It's only magic to a person that didn't know that you needed a blueprint to build the house. You wasn't never going to build the house without a blueprint. It never was going to happen. You wasn't just going to wing it. Now you might have bought the house on a whim, right? And had, a mortgage that you couldn't pay, things of that nature. But in order to build a house, you need to have a blueprint. So, in order to have a functional, productive outer world, you need to have a functional, productive inner world. And there's a lot of people that might come to me in a certain spiritual sense, but at the same time, they on the grinder app. They not honest with themselves. They live in double lives. And how the fuck I'm gonna help you with that? You gotta do inner work, and a lot of the inner work is tied into sexual alchemy. So the sexual things that you stand in, you can't talk about them because they so deviant, they so debaucherous that your family will look at you differently. To whereas now you want to deal with spiritual shit, but at a blueprint schematic level, your goddamn planner, he not writing nothing because he's trying to figure out who he is for real at a sexual level. So a lot of times younger people don't understand spirituality because they don't understand their sexuality and learning how to stand in it truthfully. And what that means is I'm gonna tell you something about myself sexually that you probably not gonna like. So sexual alchemy is this is my truth. Lack of sexual alchemy is I'ma secretly be on the grinder app while my girlfriend is at work. So it's nothing that you can do on a spiritual level if you're not saying being on a grinder app is bad, but your name should be I was on a grinder. Your name should be, what I'm saying, I swing both ways. And just stand in that energy because ain't nothing wrong with it. Nobody judges you. Everybody loves you for who you are. I don't know why people lie about that type of deal in this world that we live in, where shit, you can damn near start a podcast if you freaky enough. Nothing wrong with it. Nobody judge you. So I'm saying that you start a podcast about sexual energy. That's you going inside the house. Because then, if it's embarrassing, if it's shameful, then the next part of going inside the house is not doing it, trying to figure out why you're doing it, and creating an action plan for you not to do it. To which you go 6 months. All right, I haven't watched porn in 6 months. Okay, cool. I'm at a space now where I feel better about the intentions that I'm setting and creating a relationship with somebody because I'm not addicted to pornography. Cause I'm quick to cancel a plan. I'm quick to not go on a date. I'm quick to go home, cut on the porn, grab the lube, and go crazy. And I'm acting like that's okay. And then I'm watching Hood's video because he talking about that spiritual shit. I love the spiritual shit that he talking about, but at the end of the day, I'm addicted to porn. It don't matter what I'm talking about if you're addicted to porn. This is a bluebird in a blue bird. What does a bird do? A bird sings and is known for sending messages. Standing at the door. This is being on the threshold of a house. The house is your inner world. Your house is banah. It is your structure. So your inner structure creates your outer reality. Lack of inner structure is what we call anxiety, negative emotions, sadness, depression, things of that nature, because you're living in this world without structure and you're figuring that it's going to work out. Once again, you cannot build a house without a blueprint. You can't build a house on vibes. And when we're talking about manifestation and we're studying charts and we're doing all of this astrology, we're simply shifting an idea into a reality, whatever that idea is. The reason why we're doing this is because there is 9 billion people on the planet and we have that choice, we have that luxury to say I don't got to do shit that this person is doing. I can do this completely how I want to do it. But I need to have that inner structure. How do you develop that inner structure? You have to deal with your inner world, which is a lot of damn meditation, a lot of clearing, a lot of getting out of your own way in reference to your thoughts. A blue bird represents the throat chakra. Blue representing that throat chakra and understanding that when you are specifically refined, You are a divine messenger. That's the goal of it. But once again, my main analogy is fixated and focused on we're mostly outside of the house. And very rarely do we turn around and open that door or go into that gateway, which is our inner world. And when we understand reverse polarity, that is our schematic and blueprint for how our life is going to be. To which, if we are completely on the outside, never going inside, we never get into that aspect of our ability to co-create with the Most High, because that is the beauty and benefit of living life. We can co-create the life that we want to live, but we don't give ourselves that opportunity because we don't know where to find it. We are seeking to find it in other people, following other people. But we got to understand Sagittarius energy. I can only do 10%, not even, I do 10%. Just showing you the shit, laying out the information. Most of the shit is going to be you doing the work. Me telling niggas to meditate is not the, I know the impetus behind that is like, oh, Hood said meditate. I'm going to go meditate today. I know that's not, that's not what we're doing here. So, a bluebird standing. And it's a very simple metaphor, but it get real deep when you break down everything metaphysically. If you got any other add-ons to this, please sure to spam the chat. So this full moon is taking place in the Purva Asada, and I termed it "seeing it before it happens." Uh, One of the quotes that came to my mind is that the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. So when we're referencing our psychic abilities, we can fuck around and find out. We can do trial and error. That's cool. Or we can see the future and not, avoid all of that shit by invoking who we truly are. The invincible star is you. The invincible one is you. The prior victory is the victory that you already know that's going to happen. Why? Because we're in an inverse polarity. The manifestation of spirituality is what nobody can stop. So then it becomes your responsibility to take hold of your life. What's the problem? You connected to too many people and too many opinions. I can't be the invincible one because she the invincible one. He the invincible one. He got all the money. Donald Trump, Elon Musk, the government. But you got consciousness. One's in the chat. If you got consciousness, that is a portal to God. But you're not utilizing your technology. Everything that I'm talking about is technological and it's common sense. Technology is ones and zeros. It have to balance itself out everywhere it goes. So do you. So do everything. But once again, it's a very simple process when you get into Purva Asada, the nakshatra of the full moon. Because one of the symbols of this full moon is a winnowing basket. What is a winnowing basket, you might ask? Because you went to public school and they didn't teach us about winnowing baskets. A winnowing basket or fan is a tool for winnowing grain from chaff while removing dirt and dust too. So, what are we doing? We got this basket, we got this grain, and we want to separate the valuable grain from the dirt and the dust and the chaff that we don't need. So, we have a basket and we siphon it down. Basically, to be great, we have to just get rid of the parts that, excuse me, we have to get rid of the parts that we don't need. So what looks like a big mess, once you winnow it down, you get the refined parts. And that is the truth. That was always there. You have to get underneath the surface. This is the inverse polarity. This is how you play the game. Because the spiritualists at the high level that know the things that I'm talking about, they know exactly what I'm saying, and they using this power to their advantage. but they're working for evil. But when you personally work for good, it can be you versus a million people, and you going to win victorious because the invincible one is the fact that you already invincible when you utilize your psychic power. The reason why niggas is back to back in goddamn McDonald's as we speak. Lexus, Bentleys, Beamers, all at McDonald's, BMWs, is because if we can get you niggas to not utilize your psychic functions, if we can get y'all at a job, if we can pay y'all 250K, if we can put you in a loft, if we can put you in a BMW, if we can put you at a party, at a show, get you backstage passes, make you shake your ass on the couch, send you on a trip, send you on a cruise, send you around the world, take you to Paris, take you to Spain, then you ain't never going to utilize your psychic powers. If we can get you a job at the number one corporation, or you can make $500,000 plus benefits, we'll give you that shit and not think twice about it. Because as long as you do not understand that you are invincible, that you can see things before they come, to whereas if we can get people so ingrained in the physical, so ingrained in the positive, and they don't know nothing about the negative, reverse polarity, inverse polarity, they don't know shit about it. We just got them working for money, and then we inflate the money, meaning we reduce the value of the money. Now you don't know which way to turn. You don't know which way to go. And I could talk to you an hour about spiritual development, and it can go on one ear and out the other, or you can get off this video, clean off your altar, light a candle, make sure that it's balanced with each element, make sure that your spiritual work is balanced with what is that study, make sure your study is balanced with practice, make sure your practice is balanced with refinement, make sure you are getting better. Understand when you begin something, you gonna suck ass. That's the winnowing basket. You got grain, you got shaft, you got dirt, you got dust, right? It's all there, but that's okay because you can refine this thing. You can get it down to nothing. You can fast, you can exercise, you can walk, you can meditate, you can do everything that you're supposed to be doing. You don't gotta say fuck it. I'm gonna eat chicken wings because I can't take it no more. I gotta drink some Hennessy and wings. You can let all of that shit go. You can ruin that part of you that's making bad decisions. It, and I'm only speaking from experience because it was shit that I used to do that I just don't give a fuck about doing no more. It's a winnowing process. It's a refinement process. That in wherever you're at, think about how the negative aspects of you that you're ready to ruin it. You're ready to identify it and ruin it. You're ready to get rid of it. It's not useful to you because at your pure essence is where you want to get to. Your pure essence is clarity. When you have clarity, when you have refinement, then you have truth. When you have confusion, when you have dirt, when you have dust, when you have all of this shit going on, it's like goddamn a window, mad smudgy, with goddamn dirt particles on it, and you got to see in front of you. You can't see in front of you when that window is cloudy and filtered. Thus, it is a simple process. And from the beginning, my first article on magic, when we get into banishing on the Substack to this very moment, the process of getting rid of shit that you don't need is by far the most spiritual process. You don't need to add shit to your spiritual repertoire. You need to get rid of aspects of yourself that's aligned to the matrix and get into aspects of yourself that's aligned with truth. So if ever was a time where you was locked into the spiritual process, you was watching Hood Mystic videos, you was watching Bobby Hemmett videos and things of that nature, think about the step that you missed, right? In the aspect, like what I mean is I've been listening to a lot of Bobby Hemmett lectures, but I don't just listen to him, I act. Or what he talking about. So I can listen to him for like 5 minutes and he put me into a mode of acting. So whoever your favorite lecturer is, instead of just listening to them, get into a space where they move you into practice, right? But with all that being said, y'all know the vibes. Y'all know how I'm giving it up. Make sure that you subscribe to the Substack, which the link is in the description. And another aspect that I keep forgetting about, but I'm gonna keep it's in reference to what we're talking about, and I'm gonna just hit on it. During this full moon, there's going to be an exact conjunction between Neptune and Saturn and Pisces. What this means is that there are unlimited resources. This conjunction goes along with the first new moon in Gemini, where we were making plans for the next 13 months and we're trying to visualize what we're going to do for this next 13 months. But then we stop ourselves and say, damn, I don't got enough money to do that. I don't got enough money to do this. I don't got enough money to do that. Well, the facts of Neptune, which is spiritual development, and Saturn, which is the cultivation, which is the limited structure on spiritual development. So what we have with Neptune is the Ein Sof, or the unlimited, limitless. And what Saturn is doing is putting structure into it. Structure, Saturn rules Banah, which is form. Okay, what we have is an opportunity for unlimited resources to bring our dreams to life. It's slowly happening, it's slowly forming. We are going to move into legislation, laws, forms, grant programs, all types of shit that's helping you live out your dreams. So what is the work associated? What's the balance associated with this? You got to get your ass out there and source out some shit. Find some help for your ass. Okay? Very simple shit. Subscribe to the Substack. Link is in the description. Or you can just Google my name, Kyrie Anthony Substack, and it should pop up. This episode has been brought to you by White Rabbit Psychedelics, whiterabbitpsych.com. Make sure you know, get 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 booted up and suited up. It's the beginning of the month. Time to, like, tap in, tap in, tap in. We got a 15% off sale. So the whole store is on sale, no promo code needed. Just visit whiterabbitpsych.com, get your gummies, get your chocolate, get your capsules, get your fruit, get ready for the future. Get ready for that other realm where shit is really happening at. You feel me? If you don't want to do that, you want to support the channel, please do so by Cash App. The Cash App is $Hood Mystic 38. If you want to donate $3 or $3 million, feel free to do so. It's a tax write-off because we are a spiritual foundation. White Rabbit Ministries is what I like to call it. But speaking things into existence as we are forming our future. And I hope you are doing the same with a proper outlook. We started off with 13 months. Now we're at 12 months. It's still a baby. It's still an idea. We're still crafting it, blueprinting it. But at the end of the day, we are manifesting. Make sure you join that Substack because we are getting into that Kabbalah. Tomorrow we got the Choke My video. So I'm telling y'all, I'm about to go so deep into this Kabbalah. You gonna need a goddamn condom listening to this goddamn episode. I promise you. Cause you be like, damn, this is too deep, hood. You should have told me. I would have brought some contraception to the live. You feel me? But tune into that, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know when we're going live. But with all of that being said, this has been the full moon in Sagittarius. What dreams may come. You might have to listen to this again because it was a lot of knowledge being dropped. You feel me? Ones in the chat, thank y'all for pulling up, tuning in, being good sports, being active in the chat. I love that for y'all. With all that being said, I will see y'all on the flip side. Have a wonderful day. Peace.
You are now tapped in with Hood in the morning. Call in now.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. See, if that's not the realest shit in the world.
The Shift Report with the Hood Mystic, where shift happens.